Um, Good afternoon. My name is Warren Morgan. I'm a ship fitter. I've been at Austal for 3 years. I work in Final Assembly Bay 5 on LCS. I support the union because I feel like workers should always have a voice in the company, and I think that the the basis of our country was built on the fact that everybody should have a voice and everybody should have equal rights. And I believe that far too many times when it comes to working for big companies, that the actual workers and the people who do the production lose their voice. And I feel like the union is the best way to give us our voice back and allow us to be treated fairly and properly, and also do a good job so everybody can prosper. Um, one of the main issues is treatment of employees, because like I stated earlier, the brunt of the labor and the brunt of everything falls on the back of the hourly employees. And I believe that when a company is too concerned with meeting the bottom line or trying to turn a profit, then everything else gets lost in the process. So the biggest problem that I still have now is it's trying to meet the standards of the Navy and turn a profit at the same time. You know, it's not organized correctly to do that at this particular moment. One of the biggest safety concerns that we face on our work site is, to me personally, is too few and too inexperienced safety workers. And I believe, with overhead rigging, scaffolding and everything, I think that more detail and more attention should be paid to the safety aspect. A lot of times the company likes to cut corners in order to meet schedule. And you'll get by the skin of your teeth until somebody dies, and then all of a sudden, just like it is in American law, until something happens, then you won't get a law passed. So when you can do something, when you can stop something that you know is wrong ahead of time, it'll prevent an unnecessary tragedy from happening for something to get changed. And the biggest thing we have is crane, malfunctioning crane equipment. Cranes lifting loads over your head and you're in a hole you don't even know. You just do if something falls, you're dead. You'll never know. You just wake up in heaven, And like scaffolding tags, like you never know if the scaffolding tag has been punched or checked, or if they just walk by and just punch it without actually doing a thorough check. Because I get to work at 4 a.m. and then the scaffolding tag is already punched for the day, and I'm here before any of the scaffolding workers. How did that happen? And it's just that I believe that more emphasis should be placed on safety, because we're called human resources, but the human part is more important than the resource part. So we get to watch a cool video. On paper, they promote employees by what we call the evaluation system, where every 3 to 6 months you get an evaluation, and they take your score into consideration with your occurrences, and then you should either be able to get a raise or move up or apply for other positions. But in reality, it's who you know, who you're best friends with, and who you tell on, and what you do. What can you do for me to make me move you up? So you're no longer evaluated on your actual production and your knowledge of the job, as far as what can you do for me if I'm your immediate supervisor. Every single day. Every single day, every single job. The fact that we have the supervisor that we have is the fact that there's favoritism. The fact there are so few African American supervisors is an utter shame. The fact there are so few African American foremen is an utter and crying shame. And favoritism, you see it every day where a person, if you're in good with your supervisor, you'll get the best jobs. If the supervisor don't like you, they naturally force you out of the situation. They'll put you on a job that is impossible to do in the required amount of time. And if you don't get it done in that required amount of time, then they have all the ammunition they need to get you moved away, moved out, or fired. So that's the thing about a production job, is that they give you a certain amount of hours to complete a job, but a lot of things can go on in between that time to prevent you from completing it in that time frame. And a buddy would say, oh, you go over here and do this, and they'll divvy out the good, easy jobs where there's no problem to get done to the people that are in good with the supervisor, but the supervisor, the people that he don't like right now, you can walk on a boat right now and you can see, just watch a crew, and you'll know who's on the supervisor's good side and you'll know who's on the supervisor's bad side just by what they're doing. See somebody sweeping with a broom, see an A-class guy sweeping with a broom, he probably spoke up to the supervisor. And I mean, time management is just out of the window. We spend more time cleaning up than we actually do working. They'll stop us at 3 o'clock every Thursday to clean up the boat. Or they'll stop us, one time stopped us at 11 o'clock, clean up for an hour before you go to lunch, then come back to work, dirty it back up, and then stop at 3 and clean again. It's like, it almost borderlines on just idiotic. And it's really a shame that for a company to be in the position that it's in, to not recognize the amount and the seriousness of the mistakes that they're making, to even correct them. It's one thing to make a mistake, or it's one thing to have an engineering flaw, or it's one thing to have a design flaw, and it's another thing to continue to have the same design flaw on every single boat and never fix it. What's the term? What, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result? Non-existent. They throw you out on the floor like the majority of people who come straight out of AIDT. You got two ways. You go sand, or you go sweep, or you go carry stuff. They bring people out of AIDT for manning numbers and sheer labor. They expect you to learn on your own. Supervisors don't teach. Supervisors complain. Supervisors tell you, oh, you don't know how to do this, you went through AIDT. Well, I hate to tell you, the AIDT didn't do nothing but push us through so we can meet the manning numbers that the Navy need for each vessel. So, it's non-existent. They're too much in a hurry to get things done to where they don't take the simple time to teach you this is the correct way of doing things. But if you do it wrong, the first thing they do is write you up for doing it wrong instead of explaining to you this is how you do it right. Like like the TAs and the assistants are intentionally trying to do it wrong. They punish them instead of explaining to them this is how it is done correctly. And they could save a lot of time and a lot of man hours with rework if they just explain initially, this is how this should be done. This is how a frame should be tacked. This is how a frame should be cut out. Not go cut this out for me and then you mess it up. Oh, I'm going to have to write you up for that. So basically, you're a shark in the water. You got to be born swimming or you're going to drown. Marcus Garvey said, if you don't stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. And at some point in your life, I mean, it's one thing to want to sit around and collect a paycheck, because we all need a paycheck, we all need a job, we all have to survive. But it's another thing when you ask yourself, what are you willing to sacrifice to survive? Are you willing to sacrifice your dignity? your bones, your hard work, your health, your safety, just to have a paycheck? Are you willing to sacrifice your soul for a paycheck, really? In all honesty. Because if you don't stand up for the own people who are working for you, you're in essence a slave. You work every day to turn a paycheck and then barely have enough to get by. And at any point in time, they can come to you and say, I don't like you, you're fired, and then you're done, then you back scrapping again. You have to fight for your own protection, your own right, and your own safety, because without that, you have nothing. Nothing can stop Austal from doing whatever they want to you right now and having complete amnesty. But if you have a union, you have a voice, you have protection. They can't just do whatever they want to do and get away scot-free with it. Austal is a wonderful company and has a wonderful opportunity for the people who work there, for the community, for Mobile, for the state of Alabama. But for the people who work there, you have to stand up and you have to fight for your rights. Like, it may be all good to you right now, but sooner or later something is going to happen. And when that happens, what are you going to do? That's why you should have something there implemented, so if something does happen, you will have some type of protection. And God bless whoever sees this.